Welcome, Leo, to your in-depth weekly astrology overview and zodiac forecast for week commencing the 20th of April for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. Going to share with you the big themes of this week, first of all, Leo. Then on screen, your event chart. As we go into the week, it always provides an influential backdrop. I'll then go through each of the influences, frame by frame, to give you a clear picture of what you can expect in terms of energy, work, relationships, and finances. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. But please also click or tap the bell notification symbol. As last week came to a close, Mars, the planet of passion, and Saturn, the planet of limitation, came together in an exact conjunction in your fellow fire sign of Aries for the first time in 28 years. It may have thrown up situations where you could feel a little bit hemmed in, particularly if you're wanting to be more free-spirited, to travel, to be more adventurous, to be more independent. But ironically, if you are fancying a change, it could play out this week around what you do for a living as much as your more personal interests and pursuits. Because the sun on Monday moves into the earthy sign of Taurus, which can be about resources, money, but also about our sense of self-worth and values. But for you, it's the most prominent part of your chart. And over the next 4 weeks, the sun gives you a lot of support to showcase your brilliance when it comes to your connection to the wider world. Now, you've had Venus, the planet of charm, there for the last 3 weeks at the start of this week. And for the longer term, Uranus has been there for 7 years, apart from 4 months last year. So it may have been an area that's been a bit restless and choppy in general over recent years. But if more recently you have just been feeling unsettled or restless in any part of your life, I think that's really the big theme as you come into this week. Now, Friday sees a quarter moon in your sign. We get two of these a month. They don't get talked about enough. They provide a backdrop of energy for the following week. Essentially, the moon in your sign is asking you to be more in touch with what you need as an individual. The sun in the sign of Taurus is very much about what's expected of you. It's about fitting in. It's about convention and work. There could be a little bit of a tension there. And also as the sun moves on this week, Leo, it does come into a square with the very powerful energies of Pluto in your sector of relationships. If there is a relationship you're in of any kind where there's a bit of a power battle going on, it could show up more towards the end of this week. But if you're looking for work, I've got something exciting to tell you that can play out around Friday too. But at the end of the week, Venus and Uranus jointly move into the friendliest and most social part of your scope, the sign of Gemini. And in the case of Uranus, he's going to be there for the next 7 years. And this can trigger a whole new period in your world. On the screen now, Leo, is your event chart at the start of the week. Now, I've done this week at midday because the sun moves early on Monday morning into Taurus. So it starts the week fully at midnight, still in Aries. And that Aries energy, which has been so powerful for everyone over the last week or so, still very, very strong. And you still have Saturn, Mercury, and Mars in an alliance with Pluto. If you are collaborating with someone at the moment where you're really aligned around your values, it's a tide that can go from strength to strength. But if you are feeling that things are limited, are dull, there is a repetition in your world that you just aren't enjoying, Saturn can make your thinking, Mercury, a little on the low side. And with Mars hemmed in by Saturn as well, there could be a real sense of frustration if you feel your options are not that great. But the sun's move later on Monday, and you can see the moon is in the friendly for you, Gemini, into that 10th house you can see is right at the top of your chart. So In any event chart, whichever planet is closest to an angle will be uh, most potent in that given period. So this is very much a sun dominant chart. So this pushes you in a way, particularly if you are feeling bored at work, to take a step out of your comfort zone and strike out to do something much more ambitious. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be in a big corporate environment. It could be considering doing your own working for yourself. It may be being more flexible with your work. That need for greater freedom could be an opportunity to do a couple of different part-time roles. So it's not necessarily about receiving acclaim, although it can be. It's more about enjoying what you're doing. But because these guys have been, in the case of Venus, in your sector of success for 3 weeks, it may be that you've been having some very important conversations of late with some decision makers, and I think the sun's arrival here is going to be intriguing. But recall what I said in the intro, the sun moves forwards and then comes into that square with Pluto. So, whether it is in a personal relationship or a professional one, if there is some abrasion, someone wants to be the top dog and it doesn't quite work for you personally, by Friday and the time of the quarter moon in your sign, Venus and Uranus are in an exact conjunction in the sign of Taurus. And if you're really not enjoying that job or that relationship, if you feel that someone is being too controlling, you may want to just get away from it. Now, whether that would be something you do as a temporary measure, whether it be something that would be a final break, is really down to your unique situation. Because Uranus moving into Gemini is really quite willful. It's asking you not to play the game in the way that the sun is more likely to do as far as fitting in and understanding convention and expectations. This is going to bring out an inner rebel in you. And with Venus joining that part of your chart too, I can absolutely assure you, if you give yourself permission, the following month could be very buzzy and very exciting for your interactions with others. You could even meet someone out with a group of friends, and it may be an absolutely buzzing attraction, and it could move quite quickly. So, very exciting. But when it comes to that control issue, whether it is feeling controlled in your life in general by fitting in too much with other people's expectations, or wanting to do something really fresh and different around your work, or wanting to do something much more varied around your social or life or spare time, all of these things can play out as this week goes on. I'm going to summarize those four areas of energy, work, relationships, and finances next. But I've slashed the price of the personal horoscopes, Leo. You can now buy your life roadmap report, which helps us to understand our patterns throughout this life, but get your 12 months transit forecast and your draconic analysis, which helps you to understand your soul or karmic journey. Both those are free. So you pay for one, get three in total. Why? Because I know people are feeling the pinch. But second, I'm really passionate about people having a greater understanding of what makes them tick. It's what really got me into astrology. Please see the link below for more. Now, if you get to watch your Flash of the Malefics deep dive 28-year cycle video, that's on the screen. If you've yet to watch your Uranus into Gemini 84-year cycle video on the screen. If you'd like to work with me directly with a one-to-one, please see my testimonials below. You can sign up for your free daily written horoscope via to your device each morning for your early day celestial pit stop, also below. So to summarize, I think when it comes to your professional situation, if you're bored, the planets are pushing you to break away from what you're doing now and strike out in a fresh way, but really go for what you are truly capable of. Don't settle for second best. Now, in a energetic situation or sense, Saturn being conjunct Mercury can have a little bit of an impact on our nervous system, and Saturn being conjunct Mars can also perhaps see us feeling quite on edge, particularly in the ninth house in Aries, because obviously Mars can get quite activated here. Saturn doesn't like being here. So if you feel that that option or choices are quite scarce, that could see a lot of frustration come in, which in turn can drain you. Also, Jupiter, the planet of faith, continues in your 12th house. So whatever is going on right at the top of your chart, the Northern Hemisphere, clearly very much to do with your connection to the world. Although Jupiter, it's interesting with the 12th house being in the Northern Hemisphere, there is a little bit of an astrological misnomer there. The 12th house is visible, but then it isn't. So work out that as you will. But Jupiter for you is asking you to stay in touch with your instincts, just like the North Node is, and particularly around longer term finances. But if you are up for that change with work, a conversation you've had over the last few weeks could see a connection coming back to you on Friday, which thrills you. But if there is some kind of tussle, a battle of wills going on in your life, romantically or professionally, it can show up around Friday too. But by the end of the week, if you're looking for a fresh start around your love life, you're in for a sizzling time as the week draws to a close and over the next 3 or 4 weeks too. All the best, Leo. Have a great week and see you again soon.